Okay guys, I'm going to show you how to set up your final. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a ruler of some kind. This is the paper ruler that I've given you earlier this year. So if you use this, you're also going to need your straight edge, as well as some charcoal, a pencil with an eraser. I also recommend having a piece of paper towel handy, as well as a piece of paper towel, as well as some scrap paper, and that could be any kind of paper that you're going to end up throwing it away at the end of this. So any kind of paper will do. I'm going to be using this old rubric. So first off, we're going to start off by setting up our border. Okay, we're going to do a 1-inch border for this project, and if you take that yellow ruler, line it up with the edge, and draw a straight line, you'll get that 1 inch. Now, sometimes the paper ruler moves around a bit, so you can also measure 1 inch on the left, measure 1 inch on the right, and use the straight edge to connect the dots. Whatever works best for you. Much like our previous projects, you get to choose the orientation for this project. So whether it is landscape or portrait, that depends on which thumbnail you chose. Again, whichever your preference is. The reason we have the thumbnail, or the reason we have the border for the charcoal, is because, as you've probably learned by now, the charcoal is quite messy. So having the border kind of gives us a place where we can hold on to our paper without getting fingerprints on it. It also gives us a place to put our name when we're all done. Remember, you want to sign your name on any work you submit to me throughout the year, including this one. It's an easy 5 points. So again, please do not forget to sign your name. You want to erase any crossing you have in the corner. Careful not to tear the paper. And there we go. So we're going to do our final for this in what I call a vignette style, where it's darker on the outside and lighter in the center, almost like we have a spotlight shining on our objects. Now, to do this and still have a clean edge, we're going to use a piece of scrap paper as our resist. You line the paper up with the edge of your border and shade over both the paper and on your final. This way, when you remove it, voila, you have a clean edge. Now, you might get some kind of dust on the border or on the inside here, and that's okay. We're going to end up erasing our borders both at the end of setting up our final as well as right before you turn things into me. So repeat this process on all 4 sides. There we go. Once you have all 4 sides done, you're going to take your thumb and just go in circular motions, pulling the charcoal from the edge towards the center. We don't want to see this kind of distinct dark outline, right? We want it to have a smooth transition between kind of this outside and our lighter center. So again, using our thumb, circular motion blend. If you need to add a little bit more charcoal, feel free to do so. Now, a common problem I saw when I was looking at students' charcoal spheres is that when they would do their backgrounds, they would just take the charcoal and scribble in the center, and then you would still see kind of that scribble mark. So what we're going to do to prevent that is I'm going to teach you a technique called the reservoir technique. And the way this works is you basically just take the scrap sheet of paper once again, make a little puddle of charcoal or a little reservoir, dip your hand in that, and spread the charcoal around. So here's how this works. Again, make a little puddle of charcoal. Use the meat of your hand, this kind of meaty, fleshy part of your thumb, dip it in the pool, and then put it in the center. This way, you're adding just the right amount of charcoal to the center, not too much and not too little. Repeat this until you have a smooth transition from your darker outer edges to your center. Now the next step is a bit tricky. We want to make sure that we have a consistent background. We don't want any of this kind of patchiness. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that paper towel, fold it into a corner shape, or fold it into a square, and then use that, going in again, a circular motion to blend our charcoal together. You can also, of course, use, again, that meat of your hand. And I recommend setting a timer on your phone for 2 to 3 minutes and just continue to blend for that duration of time. One of the most common errors I see on finals is that students don't spend enough time blending that background. We don't want to see any marks jumping out at us. We don't want anything distracting us from our lovely charcoal objects. Okay, so I'm just going to continue to blend here. And I could probably continue to do so for a minute, but you understand kind of the idea of this. Now you'll notice, again, we got a little bit of charcoal in that background, or excuse me, in that border. So we got to get rid of that. To do that, we're going to use the resist technique once again. But this time, I'm going to line the paper up with my final, hold it down, and then erase the border. This will ensure that we get a smooth, straight line while erasing all of our smudges. Ta-da! Use a clean finger to wipe away any eraser bits, and repeat this process for all 4 sides. And there we go. So again, don't forget, whether you do landscape or portrait, be sure to include your name somewhere on your final. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Good luck.